I'm sitting on the sagging couch in my rented studio apartment, the air thick with the stale smell of whiskey and regret. The bottle on the coffee table is half empty, a crutch I swore I'd abandon after a year of sobriety. But here I am, 3 months after losing Emily, drowning in guilt and pain. She was my wife of nearly 4 years, my partner for just over 5, the most beautiful, kind woman who ever saw something worth loving in me. But I lost my way. Crohn's disease, joblessness, alcohol, and I dragged her down with me. Our marriage ended in February 2025, and I can't forgive myself for the mistakes that cost me the best thing I ever had. At 32, I'm haunted by thoughts of ending it all, by the blackout on Christmas 2023 that changed everything, by the nagging feeling that I could have saved us. Beneath the despair, a flicker of anger burns, not at her, but at myself, and maybe, just maybe, at her for giving up on me. I want to make her see what she walked away from, even if I know revenge won't bring her back. We met in December 2019, 3 months before COVID turned the world upside down. Emily was 28, a radiant soul with hazel eyes and a smile that could melt the coldest day. I was 29, a bartender with Crohn's disease, scraping by but hopeful. We met at a holiday market, her gloved hands clutching a hot cocoa, my breath visible as I offered to buy her another. Sparks flew, and soon we were inseparable, spending nights talking about dreams we hadn't dared voice. When lockdown hit, we faced a choice: stay apart or dive in. We chose to move in together, into her parents' house, a decision that felt romantic at the time, but set us on a path we weren't ready for. For 2 years we lived there, navigating her parents' quirks and our own growing pains, until they sold us the house in 2022, a fixer-upper we swore we'd make our own. But life wasn't kind. Crohn's made every day a battle, flares that left me exhausted, meds that barely helped. I bounced from job to job, bartending, delivery, odd construction gigs, never holding one for long, never having more than £100 to my name. We struggled to pay bills to keep the house from falling apart. Emily wasn't perfect either. She had a spending problem, blowing our last pounds on dresses she'd never wear, weekend getaways we couldn't afford. I never fought her on it. I wanted her to be happy, to have something to look forward to when life felt bleak. But it strained us. Her impulsiveness clashing with my instability, and we started to drift. I turned to alcohol to cope. It started small, a beer to take the edge off, then whiskey to numb the pain of Crohn's, the stress of unemployment, the fear that I wasn't enough for her. By 2023, it was a crutch, then a chain. I'd drink until I couldn't feel, hiding bottles in the garage, lying to Emily about where I'd been. She'd beg me to stop, her eyes wet with worry, but I'd brush her off, promising I had it under control. I didn't. Christmas Day 2023 was the breaking point. I got blackout drunk at her family's holiday party, a night I can't remember but can't escape. The next day, Emily told me what I'd done, slurring insults at her cousins, knocking over a table, passing out in the snow. It wasn't me, not the real me, but it was enough to break her trust. I saw the hurt in her eyes, the disappointment, and I hated myself for it. I apologised, begged for another chance, and she gave it to me, her kindness a lifeline I didn't deserve. I went sober, cold turkey, and stayed that way for a year. I thought it would fix us, that I could earn her back. But it wasn't enough. By June 2024, Emily grew distant, her warmth replaced by a coldness I couldn't crack. She'd snap at me for small things, leaving dishes in the sink, forgetting to mow the lawn, nagging in a way she never had before. I'd ask if it was me, if I was the problem, but she'd shut me down, saying I was overbearing, overthinking. I'm fine, she'd insist, but her eyes told a different story. I knew something was wrong, but I kept fighting for our marriage, planning date nights she barely engaged in, fixing up the house to make her smile. It was all for nothing. In February 2025, she ended it. We were in the kitchen, the same one where we'd danced to old Motown records, when she said, "I can't do this anymore, Jack." Her voice was calm, final. "I love you, but I'm not happy. We can't keep pretending." I begged her to try, to give me another shot, but she shook her head. "It's not just you," she said. "It's us. I need to find myself." She moved out the next week, leaving me in the house we'd built, surrounded by ghosts of what we were. 3 months later, I'm a wreck. I relapsed, drinking to numb the guilt, the loneliness, the voice in my head that says I fucked up a good thing. I can't forgive myself for Christmas 2023, for the years I lost my way, for not being the man she needed. I've had dark thoughts, thoughts of ending it all, of escaping the pain that follows me like a shadow. The house is gone now, sold to cover our debts, and I'm in this cramped studio surrounded by boxes I can't unpack. Every memory hurts, her laugh, her perfume, the way she'd curl up next to me on bad Crohn's days. I miss her like crazy, even though I know I deserve better than the way she gave up. The pain is a storm, but beneath it, anger simmers. Not at her kindness, but at her distance, at the way she let me fight alone. I want her to see what she lost, to feel the weight of walking away. Not some reckless revenge like trashing her things or calling her out online. No, I want something subtler, something that make her pause. I imagine sending her a letter, not to beg her back, but to lay out my truth. I gave you everything I had, Emily, even when I was broken. I hope you find yourself, but you'll never find another me. Or maybe I'd post a photo on social media, me sober again, working a steady job, captioned, learning to stand tall one day at a time. I know she'd see it, and it hit her, even just a little, that I'm not the mess she left behind. The thought brings a fleeting spark, but it's not enough. Revenge isn't about hurting her. It's about proving I'm worth more than my mistakes. I grab my notebook, the one I've been scribbling in since I was a kid. Writing has always been my refuge, a way to make sense of the chaos in my heart. I've dabbled in stories before, gritty tales inspired by the crime shows I watched to escape, but tonight I need something different. I start a new story, not a letter to Emily, but a fictionalized version of this pain, a way to turn my hurt into something I can control. I call my character Nate, a version of myself but stronger, more resolute. In the story, Nate loses his wife after a drunken mistake, his illness and instability driving her away. But Nate doesn't break. He rebuilds, quietly, methodically, becoming a version of himself that shines brighter than ever. Nate's revenge isn't loud, it's strategic. He doesn't beg his ex to stay, instead he gets sober, lands a job, becomes a rock for those around him. He sends her a single anonymous gift, a small painting of the house they shared, with a note, "This was ours, but I'm building something new." He builds a life so vibrant it overshadows her absence, sharing glimpses online that he knows she'll see, him volunteering at a community centre, laughing with new friends. The suspense builds as she grows restless, haunted by his silence, by the life she could have had. She tries to reach out, but Nate's moved on, his number changed, his heart no longer hers to break. He doesn't destroy her, he lets her own regret do the work. Watching from a distance as her new life feels emptier than she expected. I pause, my pen hovering over the page. Is this too much? Am I writing a fantasy to escape my own despair? Maybe, but it feels good, like I'm reclaiming a piece of myself. I keep writing, the story growing richer, more intricate. Nate's ex starts noticing cracks in her new life, the freedom she craved feeling hollow, replaced by the weight of what she left behind. My pages fill, each word a release for my anger, my guilt, my need to be seen. Hours pass, the apartment quiet except for the hum of the city outside. I close the notebook, exhausted but lighter. Writing Nate's story isn't just therapy. It's a mirror, showing me I'm stronger than I feel right now. I don't need to send Emily that letter or post that photo. My revenge is in my resilience, in building a life that proves I'm enough without her. I glance at the whiskey bottle. Its amber glow tempting. Tomorrow I'll pour it out, call my sponsor, start again. Healing will take time. Trust is fragile and my mistakes, Christmas 2023, the drinking, the years I lost my way, have left scars I'm still learning to live with. The dark thoughts scare me, but I'm still here, still fighting. Dating again feels impossible. The thought of loving someone new is a risk I can't face yet. But as I look around my apartment, the notebook on the table, the Crohn's meds I'm sticking to, the life I'm still building, I see proof of my strength. I survived losing Emily, survived my own demons. I'll survive this. One day I'll write a new story, one where love doesn't end in distance, where my heart finds a home. For now, I'll focus on me. I'll call my friend Tom, let him drag me to a meeting or a coffee shop, something to remind me I'm not alone. I'll keep writing, keep fighting, keep growing. And if a part of me still imagines Emily seeing me sober someday, realizing what she lost, feeling the sting of her own choice, Well, that's just human. I'm not perfect, and I don't need to be. I'm Jack, and I'm enough.